I'm here because Starmer and his cabinet of lying war criminals are trying to ban my friends and comrades in Palestine Action.
I'm here to support Palestine Action. I think what the government is trying to do is both absurd and outrageous.
I'm here today to support Palestine Action and to try and make a last-ditch attempt to help stop them being proscribed.
It seems like Israel is in a very serious crisis. Perhaps the most obvious sign of that crisis was all of this Iranian ballistic missiles slamming into Tel Aviv and Haifa, doing really serious damage to Israel's image as a place that's safe for Jews and that's a force for good in the world.
They're trying to silence the movement in any way that they can, and that is because of the size of the movement.
It's an absolute shame to the country and to the government and stuff like that they even can do this. And they can even put Palestine Action, an amazing group that are trying to help stop bombing babies, in the same remit as other awful organisations.
So it seems like Israel's in crisis, and on the British front of the struggle against the apartheid state of Israel, there is an amazing group called Palestine Action, and their tactic works. Direct action works. It's doing really serious damage to Elbit Systems UK, and the British government is not capable of suppressing them.
You know, I was a draft dodger from the Vietnam War. Unfortunately, I'm that old. And I fought against that war in more than one country. And, you know, at the end of that movement, the Vietnamese defeated the might of the American state. But that movement pales in compared to the size of this international movement.
Oh, you don't think there's any merit to the argument that breaking into an RAF base constitutes terrorism?
I don't think it's terrorism, no, because they're not actually, they're not being harmful, they're not being violent or anything like that. They're just trying to disrupt the war machine that's killing innocent Palestinian babies on a daily basis. I'm sick of turning on Al Jazeera every single day and seeing more children killed, and they're killing children now while they're queuing just to have some food, just to get some aid, just to get something in their tummies and stuff like that, so they can actually survive this cruel world that they've been put upon them.
In your capacity as a lawyer who works on Palestine-related cases, what are your thoughts on the likelihood of the suspending the ban proceeding?
I think that there's a good chance today. I mean, I've not looked at the legal arguments, I'm not instructed on the case, but the High Court, the courts of this country have at certain times in their history proven to be an effective check on untrammeled executive power. And so there is reason to hope that the interim relief application that's being made today will succeed. I would, who can say? I'd say it's a coin flip, 50-50.
History doesn't look that kindly upon the American war in Vietnam. Do you think that history will look kindly upon the British and American support for Israel in the current conflict?
Well, listen, it's more than support. It's active participation in a genocide. And nobody, what's going to happen, for all those people who are not out here, their children are going to say, what did you do? What did you do during that genocide? Just as my generation said to our parents, what did you do during the genocide of the Jews? And I'm from the International Jewish Anti-Zionist Network, right?
And are you worried about the potential consequences of the prescription for yourself and for the country?
I'm extremely worried about it and stuff, of course, because obviously, it's an amazing organisation and they're really just all the powers that be are just trying to shut everything down and stuff like that. But we'll never be shut down because we're here in our thousands and millions and we'll always be here, and in our hearts we are all Palestinians.
And if the prescription goes ahead, are you worried about the potential consequences of coming here and supporting Palestine Action today?
Look, it's okay to be afraid at a moment like this, whenever the British Empire is attacking people in this way, at a moment whenever it's participating in the mass murder of Palestinians, tens of thousands of female children, right? It's okay to be afraid in that situation, but being honest, I'm not afraid of that. I'm not afraid of the Starmer government coming for me. I am afraid of failing to rise to the challenge of Palestine solidarity at a moment when they are being murdered because of their race. I am afraid of when I'm 10 years, 20 years, 30 years older, looking Palestinian people in the eye and knowing that I didn't do enough. That's my fear. My fear is of flinching before the demands of solidarity, before the demands of love for the Palestinian people. So honestly, that's what I'm afraid of.
Are you worried about the potential consequences if the prescription goes ahead? Demos like this would become nearly impossible.
I don't think that's true. I think we're going to continue to demonstrate. They can do whatever they want. They can silence us about Palestine Action. They can make it impossible for us to join Palestine Action. But they cannot get rid of the idea of Palestine Action or the fact that people are going to take direct action against murderers and those who build the big guns to kill and maim women and children in Palestine. And that is going to continue whether they ban Palestine action or not.
At the end of the day, they should have obviously, look, at the end of the day, they have obviously broken some laws, they've done trespassing and stuff like that. But that's as far as it goes. It doesn't constitute terrorism at the end of the day. Terrorism is like Anders Breivik in Sweden, machine gunning loads of people and stuff like that. And terrorism constitutes what happened in 7/7 and 11, is that 11? September 11. This is not terrorism. This is just freedom fighting. These are people trying to fight for the rights or the voice of the voiceless.
The attempt by Yvette Cooper to ban My Friends in Palestine Action is a staggering assault on British people's civil liberties, and we have to resist it because it's clearly laying the foundations for fascism. That's not hyperbole, that's not an exaggeration. I'm not saying that Starmer's government is itself fascist, but it's clearly vulnerable to a fascist threat from the right, from the likes of Farage, and they're laying the groundwork, they're setting a precedent for saying if you don't like a domestic group, then we can attack them. We can ban them, and we can make it a crime to even be a member, to even express support for them.
One last question. What do you make of the government's argument that if you break into an RAF base and sabotage or damage equipment, that is definitionally terrorism?
Well, it's absurd. Of course it's not terrorism. What is terrorism is using those planes to spy on the Palestinian people so that the Israelis can bomb them and murder them. That is terrorism.
Anything which is the mobile app. Right.